Well, you're quite right. And that phrase I used about the army of overgrown babies was because that is what they are. What we are seeing is people who never learned one of the lessons that most of us learned in childhood, which is that the world doesn't always agree with us. Um, we learn that at an early age. We learn that people have different opinions from us. We learn at a little later stage that we can't do very much. We can do a limited amount to make everyone else agree with us. We can discuss, we can debate, we can try to persuade. But, at some point of adolescence, you realize that the world will not completely adapt to you. The problem is that we're dealing here with, I think it's a generational issue. It's not everyone in a generation, but it's part of a generation who believe that the world must accommodate to them. And you see this, by the way, in absolutely every corner. If you noticed in the video that Meghan and Harry released the other day, they apologized to young people today for not having given you the world you deserved. Well, I, what exactly is it that they think that this generation deserved, or any generation? Most generations in history didn't have enough food all their lives. So there's something very strange, very specific going on. And as I say in that piece in the Mail on Sunday last weekend, there's something very sinister as well, because we've seen a turn now, not just on people, but on people who are connected with people. So we've just seen last week the case of the Killing Eve actress Jodie Comer. Uh, the online woke warriors tried to destroy this talented young actress because they discovered who her new boyfriend was, a boyfriend she's kept completely private. They discovered that she's going out with a talented young lacrosse player from America called James Burke, and they discovered that James Burke is a registered member of the Republican Party in America, and even, wait for it, a supporter of the elected president of the United
Oh my
States.
God. That's a crime, unforgivable.
Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it? Nobody should publicly. It's like the Brexit thing in the UK. The majority of the public, the plurality might have voted for it, but you're not. If you find anyone who did support that in public, you're meant to destroy their lives. And this isn't just destroying. This is destroying the life of a girlfriend of somebody who supports Donald Trump. And this is a very sinister
Yeah.
turn of things.
You also cited the absolutely the bizarre insanity of an American racing driver called Connor Daly. He lost all of his sponsorship, corporate cowardice coming into play as always, because of something his now deceased father said 3 decades ago before Connor was born.
That's right. I spotted this coming because of this case. The Jodie Comer case didn't surprise me because of this case. I wrote about this in The Manners of Crowds. Conor Daly, yes, a racing car driver, had his sponsor withdraw because somebody discovered that his father had used a term in a radio interview 3 decades earlier, which had become unacceptable since. Now, the crucial thing is this. In countries like Britain, apart from historically having regarded fair play and other things as being important, we regarded the ethic of the sins of the father as important. That is, the son will not be held responsible for the sins of the father. Now, on this occasion, the father appears, now that history has changed and words have changed, to have said something which you wouldn't say today. The idea his son should be historically punished for that runs totally against what is, whether people realize it or not, a very fundamental ethic in our society. It's actually a biblical ethic. Um, and and yes, once I saw that it was happening with a son being punished for his father, I thought, of course, we will get to the stage where a woman is punished for her boyfriend. And what are we in here? But back to one of the most basic, unpleasant things in our species, the ability to have witch hunting trials, witch finding trials, dunking people in village ponds. You know, if you drown, you're innocent. If you don't drown, you're a witch. We're back to that. The people who are doing it doubtless don't realize that's what they're doing, but it's what they're doing and they have to be stopped.
Lawrence Fox, a friend of this show, who wrote about all of this in your magazine, The Spectator, the other week, he's certainly not getting any work at all right now. He's a talented actor, but he's not getting any work because he's dared to stand up against the wokists. He fears never working again. His one big chance of a new gig was the second series of the Netflix smash hit called White Lines that he starred in. And they've been bombarding Netflix to say you cannot hire this white supremacist, racist, fascist. And what I fear is, and I don't want to defame Netflix here, who knows what decision they might make, but what I fear is that this campaign of hatred against Lawrence Fox will succeed and he won't get this job.
It's perfectly possible. I'm a great admirer of Lawrence Fox. I'm also pleased to call him a friend. He's a very talented actor, and I think it's, I'm in a fortunate position. I'm a writer. I can say whatever the hell I want. Not all writers can, by the way, these days. A lot of them are bullied. But if you don't really care about the mob, it doesn't matter. It's different for an actor, of course. Because yes, I mean, theaters and providers like Netflix actually, do have a tendency to be rather cowardly in the face of these things. Netflix, you should also remember, is a company which actually fired somebody a few years ago because in a discussion about words that should not be used on the platform, a man used as an example that the N word was a word you wouldn't use on Netflix. After that meeting, several colleagues complained that he had used the word in question and he was fired.
Unbelievable. You couldn't make it up, could you?
We're in really dangerous territory here when people are this stupid and still walking around in public around the community. When you can say that person said this word shouldn't be used and therefore go for him. Yeah. But yes, cases like Lawrence Fox are very interesting because what is happening is the woke warriors are picking people off with as much vitriol as they can and as much extremity in their views and their claims as they can, precisely in order to visibly, publicly punish such people, in order that nobody else does the same. And let me just make a very important point here. What Lawrence Fox said on the question time he went on that caused all of this was totally inoffensive to any sane and rational adult.
Absolutely.
It was agreed. It was definitely the sort of thing that would be agreed upon by most of the British public. And nothing he said then or since could in any way justify the outrageous smears and claims that have been made about him, claims that he is a white supremacist or a fascist or anything like that. It's absolutely outrageous. But what's happening is this. The woke warriors say that person who said mean words, we are going to not just say we disagree with, but we are going to say is the most reprehensible person in the world. And the idea is not just that you cancel that person, but that you punish them so visibly that nobody else will dare say anything and you will win. Yeah. It is.
We say, and I ask you to say with us, lift up your voices in this great meeting in the heart of England, and to all the world, a message: England lives! is on.